Spirit Aerosystems, which is now Boeing, had a skin stringer panel that was thermoplastic with Corbon. They used induction welding, but they used co-fusion.
They have some skis that they just announced, like a demonstrator that's up to 80% bio content in their epoxy.
Very high.
Yeah.
We've sold these systems into Iraq, and they're making these big fiberglass pipes to rebuild their infrastructure.
Thinking of the last 3 days, my favorite meetings, I think, were probably the ones related to kind of pushing forward circularity and biomaterial type solutions. And there's a lot of, different partnerships that were announced at the show, and different people like the Composite Circularity Alliance and the Alliance for, I think it's European Flex Linen and Hemp, who are kind of pushing those connections and bridging the connections between different members of the supply chain. It's kind of cool to see. But also new technologies and new companies in the spaces are probably my highlights. So things like Biofibix is a new company that was in the startup booster this year, and they also featured in the biomaterial village. They do actually non-woven flex fibers, but they have a proprietary surface finish that makes it a lot higher performance than most things. So it's kind of matching the performance of some of the woven textiles and natural fibers, which was kind of cool to see. You have players like Secoman doing their green epoxy, bioepoxy. They have some skis that they just announced, like a demonstrator that's up to 80% bio content in their epoxy.
Very high.
Yeah. So their normal is 50%,
right, yeah.
or so. And now they're up to 80% on a demonstrator, which is cool. Seeing new faces in kind of the recycling space. Those were pretty cool to see alongside the other technology here. So what about you?
I like the parts in the Innovation Planet, the Aerospace Innovation Planet. Spirit Aerosystems, which is now Boeing, had a kind of a skin stringer panel that was thermoplastic with Corbon. So that was very cool. They used induction welding, but they used co-fusion. It was nice to see Corbon in that kind of program. That's a company that I've known for a long time and worked with for a long time, and they have a lot of different systems. I'm really starting to see a pickup with induction. More and more projects are using induction. So Sauber 4.0 is one of the Innovation Award winners, and that came out of CTC. And Fremo was a partner. So I was talking with Fremo today, and we were talking about that. I thought they were just doing the tooling, but they're actually doing a lot of work on these, kind of big plants and the industrialization, the automation, getting ready for the next gen single aisle. But also they do a lot in automotive. And even though, for our resins, Fremo's polyurethane, but for these other projects, they're actually mostly just looking at automated lines, turnkey lines. So that's really interesting to see that kind of automation pick up. CoExpere, has their latest developments, the CoExpere Dynamics. And again, you're just seeing a lot of development and automation, whole new concepts come to play. I had a meeting with University of Southern Queensland, Molly Hall. That was just awesome. She's working on all these technologies that I dearly love, sensors and doing dielectric analysis to predict resin cure, resin flow. They're looking at a lot of different thermoplastics technologies, but also NDT technologies. Yeah. That was really exciting. They were also in the Innovation Planet. And a lot of the meetings today were also with companies that we had started maybe discussions last year, and we were finally able to make some headway. So with Olin, they have a new resin that is a lot more eco-friendly. And we were looking for a good case history, and they found this amazing company, Oldroyd AS in Norway, that do polymer linings for tunnels.
Okay.
And those are installed, Norway has a lot of tunnels. They're installed with these steel bolts. Yeah. But now, working with Olin, they've come up with this way to replace all of those with glass fiber and basalt fiber composites. It's just amazing. There was another stand that I was walking by, and just the video caught my eye. These massive glass fiber pipes. Yeah. And I'm watching the video, and I asked the company, are you making the pipes? And he said, no, we make the filament winding system, but it's a unique automated system. And, we've sold these systems into Iraq. And they're making these big fiberglass pipes to rebuild their infrastructure.
Okay.
It's such a great story. And the Middle East, we know, is a really growing market. So that was really exciting. I think that's one of the things that I like the most about coming to JEC is you get to see so many different companies from so many different countries.
Yeah.
A lot of technology from Asia, but also the Middle East and Eastern Europe, along with the normal players that we're all used to from, the US and Europe. But
Yeah.
I think that for me is really exciting. I like to see new companies coming in. I got to see Nebumine in the startup booster. So I had worked with Nebumine years ago, and they, I knew what they did. It was lovely to see Franz again, but what we were talking about is, what they're working on now. And so he was showing me where they can take, you generate so much data off an AFP machine, temperature and pressure. And what he was saying is a lot of times that's not even synced right. So they make sure that first it's synced correctly so that you are getting exactly the data you think you're getting at that spot. And then they have a way of feeding that in, and they can map that onto your part. And so that you can start tracking your parts from part to part and looking at what your parts are actually doing and what the parameters are doing. It's awesome.
Cool.
It's really good. So I think that this whole digitization, we're starting to see a lot of movement, a lot of new advances. I'm excited that, these technologies are there. Now it's just a matter of getting the companies to understand and be willing to try them and get them into their process. I don't see actually how a lot of companies are going to be able to do rate for the next gen single aisle if we don't start adopting these kind of advanced ways. So I think it was a great show.
Yeah.
It's good. So
Yeah.
can't wait to see what happens next year.
Exactly.